up, everybody? It's your favorite webhead's favorite nerd, and today we are going to talk about spoiler-free reactions to Spider-Man Homecoming. Before we do, we are in the Russman Fang, and I would love to do...
See what you did there.
I would love to do a Cribs episode here. It's just coordinating. I also got a Cribs episode with Uncle Dolphin coming soon.
I think Joe's next on deck.
Yeah, whenever it's just a scheduling.
Yeah, I had to get over there and get that. I'll just get over there and get that done. Knock it out. Now I want to do another. No, it doesn't matter. That's not what we're here for. What we are here for is to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly in a spoiler-free manner about the Spider-Man Homecoming film, which we all just saw.
Was it a homecoming or a home run? All right.
I like it.
You guys, you've been hanging out with him too long.
That's a fact.
So, let's talk about the good. Who wants to go first?
Oh, I guess I'll go first.
All right.
The cast, amazing. Amazing cast. The setting was perfect. The way they worked it into the existing MC universe, I thought was done very well. Gave you a little bit of what you needed to know without dragging the story on. It was funny, but it wasn't. It was effortlessly funny.
It wasn't like forced.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't corny.
Yep.
No.
Like it was just funny.
It was circumstantially real world funny.
Yeah, and they were able to kind of capture, I think, something they haven't really, like, the Marvel movies are funny, don't get me wrong, but I don't think any of them has been as funny or the same kind of funny as the original Iron Man, which still had some like kind of gravitas to it. And I kind of feel like they've been chasing that dragon ever since, and they've had some funny stuff with Guardians, but Guardians is so left field,
out there.
You know what I mean? But this like brought it back home and was able to do it without doing an origin story all over again, without telling us the same old tired ass Spider-Man story. I can say that one, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Which is great. It was refreshing, and it exceeded expectations.
What about you, Joe KW?
Yeah, well, the acting was great. I think the costume designs were great. Like the characters, not just the superheroes and villains, but like everything looks great. I thought everyone, the Vulture moved great. The Spider-Man moved great. Like it looked natural, even though parts of it was CGI. Like it was enough for my brain to pass. It's like, oh, this is CGI, but it wasn't like taking me out of it.
Yeah. I agree, but there was definitely parts. There was sometimes, we'll get there eventually, but when I was looking at the suit, when him in the suit, and I was like, I think it wasn't anything spectacular or amazing, let's say, going on.
Was it sensational though?
And I was like, I think this might be CGI, and he's just standing there talking.
There was a lot of digital mapping done in the suit, but a lot of the stuff is actually him like doing like simple flips and stuff like that.
Crazy, stupid little flips.
Stupid little flips.
I liked the cast as well. I think the acting was top notch across the board. I think it might be some of the best acting from both the hero and villain side that we've seen in a Marvel movie in a long time.
I agree.
I also think it's the most villain
development
that we've seen in a long time from a Marvel
that's all I
film.
complained before. It's like the villains always throw away.
Yeah.
But this one,
I know this guy. I know what his beef is. I know where he comes from. Like,
it's relatable.
You sympathize.
He's a little bit more complicated than just a dastardly fellow.
That's right.
You know, like he's got an angle and he's got a real world motive for why he feels the way he feels.
I did like the part too. He wasn't scared to work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like blue collar working guys type mentality.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I liked the overall vibe of Spider-Man. I do feel like this is the first time that I really am invested in a Spider-Man that I want to see grow through his Spider-Man career. Like, I want to see, now I got the first couple of footsteps. I want to see the Dark Knight era of being at the top of his game. I want to see him later on when he's coming. Like, I want to see the whole spread of this stuff.
Was this Spider-Man Begins for you?
It wasn't Spider-Man Begins. Like, in a lot of ways, I think Amazing Spider-Man was more like a Spider-Man Begins.
Yeah.
But I didn't need a beginning. This is like I really think, like, as it's joked about in the film, like, is this like Spider-Man with training wheels? Like, like I was good with that. Like, if there was a movie that took place right after Batman Begins, like, I feel like this would have been it.
Okay.
And I'm invested in this Spider-Man. I'm curious to see how he grows and matures in that role and how that affects the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and how I love how in his mind, the Avengers are in this top shelf spot, and he has to come to terms with whether or not he wants to fight on that stage or on a stage that's more intimate to where his like humble beginnings kind of come from.
On his friendly neighborhood
Level, yeah. And also, like, I mean, ultimately what makes him Spider-Man is the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, like, I find that cool just even to approach that psychologically for that character.
Queens was a character in this film.
Definitely.
That no other... I kind of feel that, you kind of have this generic New York that's been the other film.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really...
He's always Fifth Ave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're always in Manhattan. It's always you don't get to see like.
I don't even think he was ever in Manhattan in this movie, was he?
I don't think so.
I don't know if he was. I mean, Avengers Tower is in Manhattan.
Yeah,
He looks
true.
up. He looks at it. Like,
Yeah,
from
yeah,
afar.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he don't want to reach there,
Yeah.
but he's not there.
But
I
yeah,
think he got to Brooklyn. I think that was the closest, and then flew over.
the characterization of Spider-Man is my favorite to date.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not normally. I don't hate him, but I'm not normally a fan of Spider-Man. But this is the first time like I feel like I could be a fan of this Spider-Man. Like I care about this one.
Yeah.
I like the other movies. Don't get me wrong, but I never care for the character at the end of the day.
Yeah,
That's what I
definitely.
want to keep going.
The bottom line is it's real good. It's real good.
Yeah.
Like, real good.
What about the bad?
The bad for me is very minimal.
Yeah,
It's
me too.
like,
I'm trying to find it.
There's a little bit of pacing stuff, but like as soon as I get to that, like, oh man, is this gonna be okay? I see what they're doing there. Good choice. Now we're back to where we want to be, and so I like that. I think they had just enough. I was concerned that it was going to be a Tony Stark movie, kind of how Captain America: Civil War was, but it wasn't. They had just the amount of that, so I don't have much complaints about it. I mean, the only thing is it work. I do want to see that adult Spider-Man. I feel like I've been a Spider-Man in high school now 3 times.
Yeah, because we can't get a series good enough to get where we want to be.
So it's like the price of admission. At first, I was dreading it, and I'm still like ready for that next step, but it wasn't bad. So I don't,
Right.
So, so there's not really no
Making
bad.
up for lost time.
Yeah,
Doomed episode.
You know, it'd be funny if we did that and Unicorn Head came back.
So, the memory card got full. It cut off Joe, so we're going to pick back up. You missed some great stuff because we didn't notice it cut off, and we had some really great dialogue, but whatever. We're going to talk about this more later, and I'll get to that in a second. So go ahead with your bad, Joe.
The bad was the resolution. It wasn't bad. It was still good. I just wanted more. Like it was built up to a certain place, and you wanted to end spectacularly,
Or amazingly.
amazingly.
Or sensational.
But it just ended good.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, once again, without spoiling anything, I think that the climax to the movie is on this very dramatic, fast-paced, high-stakes, high-action, without being too high a stakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
which is good.
And then it comes down to, it's got to come down to a showdown, right? And the showdown, I was just, the way that it resolved itself, I was like, oh, I guess that's it then.
And it was also good that it didn't go overboard. It didn't become like a CGI mess.
Agreed.
It didn't become a giant
It was still believable.
continent that he had thrown into space.
Sure.
Yeah, it was still believable. Yeah.
You're ugly?
Well, no, my bad
Oh.
is also that I agree with you with the climax, and also that to me the suit, and this isn't spoiling anything. We've seen this in Civil War and so forth. It's a little too techy for my taste.
At certain parts.
Yeah. It's a little.
Yeah, when it was glowing, that's a little much. Like, why do you put all those LEDs in there? You know what I mean?
Like before that, though.
That's not going to
like,
help out stealth mode.
when he just had the suit and he was just in the suit and it
Yeah.
wasn't doing all kinds of crazy stuff, that was fine.
Yeah, it's just I already have an Iron Man. I don't need an Iron Man that can crawl up walls, and that's really, I mean,
You know, it's interesting.
and real quick, I'm nitpicking, like
Yeah,
because like
it's nothing bad.
we're discussing the movie and we're gonna mention some bad, and this is the bad I can come up
So
with.
maybe it's not really bad. It's more like a.
Yeah, that's
Not
what-
as good.
It's just that's not my preferred way of doing
Yeah,
business. It's more like that. What were we saying?
Preference.
Mhm.
Now that I'm thinking about it, though, in hindsight, being the comic book nerd, it's like, well, why didn't Tony just put some, thrusters in that suit.
Yeah, it would help.
Hey, in case you're in the woods, the trees aren't high enough, this will get you where you need to go.
Yeah, definitely. What about the ugly? My ugly is, I feel like the CGI was a little bit weightless from time to time.
Hey, what would your percentage of the time be?
Not 25.
Okay.
You know, and we talked about this a bit, but I think that the ferry boat scene that we've all seen in the trailers, I think that maybe a lot of CGI got dumped into that, a lot of money got dumped into that, and the rest of the movie was them just trying to spread the money out for the rest of the film.
I do think, and not that I need to defend it, but I do think this was the best Spider-Man in motion we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, and it served his character.
Even the questionable CGI, the movement was good.
Yeah.
It was like the mundane parts where the CGI was
the only
questionable,
issue I
not
had
the
is
big
the
scene.
texture of the suit was kind of weird. Sometimes it looked like sweat clothes, and sometimes it looked like canvas, and sometimes it looked like spandex.
Yeah.
Well, it changes dimensions, as you can see in the movie.
That's true.
It changes size
True.
even. So.
Spoilers, Joe.
You saw it in the trailer, right?
But I think that
5.
it's
Saves.
But I think for the most part, the ugly was very limited. But I do think, in terms of the movement, there was things that he did that were casual, that were very Spider-Man in nature.
Yeah.
You know, like like if he's gonna get on the other side of this table, he's gonna do it the Spider-Man way. You know, and I don't think they necessarily have done that before, which I thought was cool. But it's just the CGI. There was some parts where I was like, I'm not sure if the film industry, technology-wise, has quite reached this point. But it didn't take me out of it. I didn't say throw it out the window. I was just like, okay.
It's like a note. Mental note.
Exactly.
That could be better.
Exactly.
But it wasn't like, oh.
Exactly.
My ugly was actually the sound.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if that was a stereo issue with our theater
Specifically,
or
which I'm guessing
theater.
it is. Yeah.
Or theater.
Which I'm guessing it is.
Yeah.
It just
a little
seemed
boxy.
It just seemed like the plug wasn't in all the way. It's like the whole movie was in an echo chamber.
And I don't even know if it was a whole movie. I don't know if I forgot about it,
or we got used to it,
or what.
But it'll end up being fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't. I mean, it took some getting used to, but then it was fine.
Oh, we didn't mention last time that we talked about after we turned off the camera was the music. The intro
awesome.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was an orchestral Spider-Man
What's a
theme?
It's a fancy
theme
word.
that it gave me the chills to hear it.
That sounded great.
It did.
Normally it's a kind of a goofy tune.
You turned
but
to me
it
at
was-
that point. You're like,
Did you have?
it's like the exact opposite feeling you have when you start to watch Rogue One. So take that.
for that moment.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
Did you have an ugly?
No, that was the CGI.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
CGI. That's the only thing I can find.
Right.
and I think 25%. I might say 8%.
And I'm also going to say, I think that the one thing that's ugly to me, and we're going to discuss this more, is the
end of the conversation if the camera turns off.
there's a character in this film that is perhaps an homage to a character you might know, but in my
This was
opinion,
in the first edit. This was in the first edit.
I mentioned it, but I mentioned it very. I didn't
Mildly.
Yeah. In my opinion, you go to the bathroom or you get off the pot, and I feel like it tried to walk this tightrope between the two, and I'm not digging it so far.
It worked for us.
It's all you, Joe. Get it right.
What about greatness? You were mentioned last time. What did we think was great?
I do think this because with great movies come a great section of the review, and I think that they were able to capture like kind of the teen drama, but like real teen challenges, a problem, the growing up of wanting to be at that next level because you can understand it, you can anticipate it, but you're just not quite there yet in your maturity and your understanding of what the real world was. And they successfully captured that.
And having to balance it with social life and schoolwork and family responsibility. And
I mean, I thought it was really realistic. Like, I mean, we're old men now, basically, but like watching the movie and seeing how these kids make big deals out of certain things that aren't big deals. But I remember when I was 15, I was like, oh wow, yeah, I remember
that was a big deal. Yeah, for sure. For me, it was the diversity of web use.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was scratched a lot of itches for me.
Yeah.
Another one of those things that's just a checkbox. Like we've talked about in the past, and we mentioned this on the previous cut. There's certain things, I guess, comic book fans you always want to see on the big screen. you know, the Punisher and Daredevil discussing justice on a rooftop, and Batman and Joker having a exchange of the minds in an interrogation room, and Spider-Man using the web in so many different ways is one of those things for me that I've always wanted to see.
545 ways.
It was 545.
It was so natural for him. It's like everything. He's just like, I'm going to use this for that.
Yeah.
Like it's like a part of his nature. It's like
There's still a learning curve though. Which
When it became advanced.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, when he didn't have it, he was handicapped.
Yeah.
He don't have it.
Yeah.
And you love that. You love that. Because I'm a fan of the organic web shooters.
Yeah, and I like the
the struggle.
The struggle.
Struggle is real.
So out of 10, what do we give it?
9.5.
8.5.
And I give it an 8.5 to a 9. I can't quite decide yet. I think I need to see it again. Do we all recommend that everybody see it in the theater?
Absolutely.
For sure. 100%.
Or you can go see it in the theater.
Yes, I always say theater.
You know, just a comment. Like I thought, like before the movie started, like that the crowd was gonna be obnoxious, but it wasn't.
Yeah, they
ended up being a great crowd.
Everybody was there for the
especially like right next to me. Like, man, this might be a little bit much.
Did that girl keep on saying, "I want to kill myself"?
I think it was a gag. Yeah.
She said like several times.
Yeah, I think it was a song or something.
Are you okay?
Dude, I can step out of here and talk with you if that needs to happen.
It would just be creepy.
Yeah, there was
like
also a funny moment with this guy. This guy, where we go see movies, he always comes in and gives this speech before the movie starts, and it's like it's always the same speech. But if you want to hear that story as well as the spoilerific explanation of this movie, check out the bonus episode of Nerd Rage Radio, where the three of us meet up every week, and we're gonna make a special episode tonight to kind of talk about our thoughts on the movie. And outside of that, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.